and she stated this right here. It stated WNBA CBA negotiations at an impasses, 11 things that got us here. To me personally, I feel like it's more than 11 things that got us here, but we'll check this out. It says 3 months after the end of the 2025 season, the WNBA and WNBA National Basketball Players Association.
January 31st came and went with no agreement. The WNBA and the Players Association missed their deadline, and now the league is facing a serious problem. There is a real chance that the 2026 season may not happen at all. If that happens, fans would lose far more than just games. There would be no Caitlin Clark season, no Paige Bueckers continuing her rise, and no new expansion teams in cities like Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Detroit. A league that just had the most successful year in its history could disappear, not because of lack of interest, but because both sides cannot agree on how to divide money that has not fully arrived yet. At a recent press conference, union leader Nneka Agwamike spoke about leadership and the future of the league. She said she felt confident in the Players Association and believed change was coming from many directions. She talked about unity among players and optimism for what lies ahead. What stood out, however, was what she did not say. She did not mention progress toward a deal. She gave no timeline. She did not suggest the sides were close. Instead, she focused on internal alignment. In negotiations, that usually means both sides are holding their ground. When union leaders emphasize unity instead of compromise, it often signals that talks are stuck. This situation did not appear overnight. The roots of the current crisis go back several years. In January 2020, the league and players agreed to what was called a groundbreaking collective bargaining agreement. One major change was the prioritization rule, which fully took effect in 2023. It forced players to choose between the WNBA and overseas leagues or face penalties. Many players were unhappy, but they accepted the terms. Then, in 2022, the league raised $75 million in new capital, claiming it would boost marketing and grow the business. On the surface, that sounded like a smart move, but that same year, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert sold about 16% of the league to outside investors. That decision changed the ownership structure to roughly 42% WNBA team owners, 42% NBA ownership, and 16% outside investors. Critics immediately argued the league had been undervalued, and time proved them right. This sale happened before Caitlin Clark entered the picture and dramatically changed the league's visibility and appeal. Momentum continued to build in 2023. The Las Vegas Aces won another championship and drew around 64,000 fans to their parade. Expansion plans were announced for major markets like the Bay Area, Toronto, and Portland. Interest was rising, but nothing compared to what happened next. In April 2024, Caitlin Clark was drafted first overall by the Indiana Fever, and everything shifted overnight. Viewership exploded. Arenas sold out everywhere the Fever played. Secondary ticket prices reached levels normally seen during NBA playoff games. Clark alone averaged nearly 3 million viewers per appearance. Despite this surge in attention and revenue, many players were still earning base salaries as low as $76,000 in their first year. Watching the league explode while player pay stayed low created serious frustration. Now negotiations have reached a breaking point. Players are asking for major increases in salaries and benefits. They want revenue sharing connected to future media deals, better travel conditions, improved healthcare, and overall treatment that matches the value they bring. After the past season, it is hard to argue that these requests are unreasonable. The league, however, says the money is not there yet. The WNBA has relied on NBA support since its beginning and claims it still operates at a loss. New media contracts are expected but not finalized. Expansion fees are coming in, but those payments are one-time boosts, not long-term income. From the league's perspective, they cannot promise money that has not officially arrived. This creates a standoff. Players want to be paid for the value they are generating now, while the league insists it cannot spend future earnings. Adding even more pressure is the rise of Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 league. Its first season proved something important. WNBA players have options. Unrivaled paid players more for a short 6-week season than some WNBA teams pay over an entire year. Players received equity stakes and were treated like partners instead of employees. While Unrivaled's ratings were not impressive, the message was clear. Players no longer depend entirely on the WNBA. That shift in leverage changes everything. The WNBA needs its stars to survive, especially with momentum finally on its side. If this dispute drags on too long, the damage could be permanent. Losing a 2026 season would not just hurt players and fans. It could undo years of progress and waste the opportunity created by the league's biggest stars. Right now, the situation looks serious. Everyone should be paying attention, especially with so much at stake. The future of the WNBA and the careers of players like Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers hang in the balance. The players are not worried about Unrivaled's TV numbers the same way they care about WNBA ratings, and there is a clear reason for that. Unrivaled gave them ownership. They are not just showing up for a paycheck. They have a real stake in what they are building. That changes everything. When you own part of something, you think long-term. You care about growth. You feel respected. That is very different from going back to the WNBA and being offered around $76,000 to represent a league that pulls millions of viewers every night. That is why the situation around Caitlin Clark's 2026 season feels so shaky right now. I know some people get upset when this topic comes up. Some fans think any criticism of the WNBA or the hype around Clark is negativity. That is not the point. The goal is honesty. When fall arrives, the reality of this situation is going to hit hard, and a lot of people will be caught off guard. Saying it early is not hate. It is a warning. The creator of this discussion has been calling this outcome for months. He said the Caitlin Clark hype, while real, was not being managed correctly. He also pointed out that the Indiana Fever rushed her physical development, pushing her to add muscle too fast, which likely played a role in her injury problems. On top of that, he predicted that the collective bargaining talks would explode into a major conflict. Now, here we are, exactly where he said we would be, staring at the possibility of no season because both sides cannot meet in the middle. The most frustrating part is that both sides are right in their own way. The players absolutely deserve better pay. What Caitlin Clark did for the league's visibility alone is worth far more than a few $100,000 spread across 4 years. Angel Reese and other rookies also brought attention, ticket sales, and merchandise money that lifted the entire league. That kind of impact should lead to better compensation for everyone. At the same time, the league cannot spend money it does not actually have. You cannot run a business on hope and projections. Promising salaries based on future revenue that might not come in is how organizations collapse. That is the tension holding everything up. Now the calendar makes this even more serious. It is February, and training camps are supposed to begin in April. That is only 2 months away. The longer this drags on, the harder it becomes to start on time. A delayed season is possible. A canceled season is also on the table. If that happens, the damage goes far beyond 1 year. Momentum would disappear. Casual fans who discovered the league through Caitlin Clark might never return. Sponsors who signed deals expecting games would walk away. Expansion teams would lose their debut seasons. Players could leave for overseas leagues or alternative options like Unrivaled and never come back. Think about this from Caitlin Clark's perspective. She should be entering her 3rd professional season, building on a historic rookie year, becoming a regular all-star, and chasing championships. Instead, she might be sitting at home because adults in charge cannot agree on numbers. That is not just bad for her career. It is devastating for the league's growth. She is the reason millions of people started paying attention. If fans tune in next spring and see no games, many of them will not bother coming back later. The Players Association clearly believes this is their moment. The league has never had more attention or cultural relevance. From their view, this is the time to lock in long-term financial security and better working conditions. They are willing to risk losing a season to force real change. That is a huge gamble, but they believe if they do not push now, they may never have leverage like this again. The league's mindset is more cautious. They are looking at balance sheets, cash flow, and obligations to owners and investors. They are thinking about survival over the next 10 years, not just riding one wave of popularity. They remember past moments when interest spiked and then faded. They fear making promises that put teams in financial danger. This is where leadership comes into focus. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has to take responsibility for part of this mess. selling 16% of league equity in 2022, before the Caitlin Clark era, looks like a major mistake now. That equity could have been used today to raise money and meet player demands. Instead, outside investors expect returns, adding pressure that limits flexibility. If the league had waited just 2 more years, that same stake could have been worth several times more. That decision still hurts the league today. At the same time, players also need to respect timing. One season of massive ratings does not instantly create a financial foundation strong enough to support huge salary jumps. The upcoming media deals will determine what is truly possible. Pushing for massive guarantees before those deals are signed forces the league to operate on guesswork, which is risky. What makes this situation so painful is that there is a reasonable middle ground. A new agreement could include salary increases tied to actual revenue growth. If media deals exceed expectations, pay rises automatically. If attendance stays high, players benefit. That way, everyone shares the upside without putting the league at risk. Right now, though, both sides seem locked in. The players want certainty. The league wants flexibility. That gap is the difference between having a 2026 season and watching everything fall apart. The clock is ticking. Every day without a deal makes a full season harder to pull off. So the real question is this. If you are a WNBA player, do you hold your ground and risk losing a year to secure a better future? Or do you take a smaller step now and revisit the deal once real numbers are on the table? That choice will decide whether Caitlin Clark is playing basketball next year or sitting at home, while the league that needs her most struggles to get out of its own way.